Hello and welcome to this episode of When the Stars Aligned. My name is Kelly and today we're talking about Venus in the placement of Gemini. But having your Venus position, so the planet of love, relationships, connection, beauty, and also what you value in the Mercurian flighty sign of Gemini means that you are a dancing lover. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that you're a very promiscuous lover and that you need to have multiple partners. For some of you, that may have been your experience, or it may be something you do want. That's totally up to your own jurisdiction. However, as a baseline for this love type, for this relationship style, for this Venus style, you really do favor a level of lightness, change, and excitement in your love affairs, connections, and all things partnership. It's like you want to taste all that is available, but you can actually do this with one person, or you have your partner, where ideally there's a level of openness between you two, whether that's a lot of spontaneity or a lot of playfulness or keeping things fresh and exciting, or maybe you have two partners. I wouldn't be surprised, at least in the span of your lifetime as a Venus and Gemini, you're going to at least have two partners. It's not like one partner and done, and that probably goes for most people because we often as a human species need to learn through what works and doesn't work. But for Gemini, you do like that sense of change, and commitment might be something that's kind of challenging for you. It is something you can face and create your own reality within them. So as I said, you can have a partner where if you do want stability and long-term in this kind of monogamous, shared, committed space, you just find ways to make it a little bit eccentric and a bit more innovative than the status quo and the conservative way of doing relationships. And there are many ways you can do this, so I'm sure if you're a Venus and Gemini who resonates with that, you probably know ways that you can do that on your own. But it's important that you have that space to experiment and to try. And it would be very hard for you to be with a partner who's very set in one way of being. You would probably feel quite trapped. So in love, you need to feel like there's a balance of the head and the heart. Because you love the heart. You know, you're such a natural people person. You love socializing and feeling people and connecting. But you also want stimulation. You want something you've got to digest and understand and work through. You kind of like the game. You like the play. You like the chase. And there's ways to keep that chase alive and thriving in any relationship, whether it's short-term or long-term. You may also notice that your feelings can change very quickly, and this doesn't mean you're insincere. It doesn't mean you don't feel. You just need to give yourself time. So set yourself up for success by saying, you know what, this is how I'm feeling right now, but I want you to know that that might change. So try not to hold me too strong to my expression of what I'm feeling, because I tend to shift quite a lot. Knowing who you are and knowing your needs is going to set you up for success in a relationship, because you can naturally be a chameleon, shifting to different people. But when people start to think that's who you are, whereas you know yourself to be very changing and diverse, there can be a turbulence, there can be conflict, there can be expectations, and you may just want to run. But you don't want to lose beautiful connections in your life. You want to be able to communicate, which you're so naturally good at doing, but it's a little bit more vulnerable, to show your emotions and say, yeah, I do change a lot and I really love you, but I need a lot of freedom. Freedom and stimulation are massive keys for you in relationship. And with that, you want to make sure that your partners in life that you're choosing, whether it's love or friendships or business, that you can communicate. Not only that they're willing to hear you and receive your communication, but also they're willing to let you give them advice or express what you think. And you feel like they want to talk to you and communicate with you. You have to feel like there's a coherence. So what you may want to do, because Mercury is a big part of your love language, is look at what sign is your Mercury in. Do you have an airy Mercury or a fiery Mercury or an earthy Mercury or a fiery Mercury? Because this is going to show your unique communication style, which you can match with your love profile, which is going to bring you more clarity into the ideal partner for you. And I just did an Instagram post on this, so if you don't follow me on Instagram, check it out, and if you like what you see, follow along. But there's a post going into each of the elements in the Mercury placements. So let's say if you're an airy Mercury person, let's say you're Mercury in Gemini and Venus in Gemini, you need a lover who can communicate with you in a very inspiring, quick, witty way, or in a very fiery, intuitive way. It's harder for you to communicate with someone who's really in the watery element or really in the earthy element that's low to the ground and deep and stable and slow moving and like real deep. You want a little bit more up, high, heat, inspiration. So these are things you can look at also to support your Venus sign by looking at your Mercury sign. But overall, that's really the basics for Venus and Gemini. And I just like to give the basics because you're so determined based on your whole chart. But I do find that the Venus placement shines a strong light on what you need in love. So as a Venus and Gemini, you need freedom, you need stimulation, you need joy, you need play, and you need variation. And there are many ways that can happen. All right, lots of love to you, Venus and Geminis. See you on the next episode.